Hello, film fans. Welcome to the Film vs. Film podcast. My name is Martin Harries, your host, and I'm joined by the film encyclopedia man, Boaz Dix. We are a couple of filmmakers on occasion, but mainly can't stop yapping about movies. On this podcast, every episode we pick a topic from a film that's coming out at the cinema or on VOD. Myself and Boaz pick our favourite film from that topic, and we battle it out to decide which film will become the greatest film of all time, according to two film geeks from Wiltshire, England. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave us a review and subscribe. Hello, podsters. Welcome to the Film vs. Film podcast. As usual, I'm here with Mr. Boaz Dix. How are you,
fine,
sir?
Thank you, sir.
Good, good. This week, as A Quiet Place Part 2 is out in UK cinemas, finally, we're going to be having a look at our favourite post-apocalyptic films. So, Boaz, do you want to go first on this one?
Sure.
What was your pick for post-apocalyptic?
I picked
movies?
I Am Mother. Yes.
From Netflix? So why did you pick this one?
An excuse to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah,
No.
I don't know. I saw somebody review it, and I thought, that looks pretty cool. So yeah. It was just an excuse to watch it. I think I know better post-apocalyptic films. It's just I couldn't think of any post-apocalyptic films for some reason.
Okay.
And and you kept pestering me, so I was like,
all right.
just I
As is
combined the
way.
two. It's like, this guy reviewed it, said it was pretty good. I wanted to watch it.
So this is from director Grant Sputor, written by Michael Lloyd Green, Grant Sputor as well. So what did you make of this one?
Yeah, I thought it was all right. It's it's a contained film. Could even be a short film or whatever. But I kind of liked it.
I mean, I thought it had some great ideas in it. I think it's very slow. I think, which is my problem with it, and it's a bit too long as well, which I rarely complain about for films, but this did feel very, very slow to me.
Yeah.
What happens in I Am Mother?
Basically, it's sometime in the future, there is a facility and a robot guardian called Mother who grows a child and starts, basically teaching it. It's just it and, this robot. Yeah, she's told her that, the outside world is contaminated, nothing can survive up there. She meets a person, a woman who is, still alive, not contaminated. And she'd been shot, and she takes her in.
Played by Hilary Swank.
Yeah. And basically starts to doubt, what her mother, her mother, quote unquote, has taught her all these years about, the outside world and stuff. I think that's a pretty good summation.
Let's get straight into it then with directing. Have you got any directing moments that you liked? I mean, I liked the rat.
The rat.
The cameo by the rat.
Where she catches a rat. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, there's some pretty good directing moments in this. When she kind of finds out, the truth and shit like that, I thought that was cut together really well. Yeah.
All right.
Just everything about that sort of scene, just the music and her intercut of her rummaging through and, you're like, oh, she's probably going to get caught or what have you. Her finding jaw bones and shit like that in the ash and stuff. That was pretty...
Oh yeah.
That was pretty amazing. And, obviously a real reaction of holy shit, felt quite real. So yeah, I like that scene.
They don't really have names in this film. She's just Clara Ridgard, who plays the daughter. She's just called Daughter. She's really great in that moment when she finds the child's jaw in the incinerator of all the ashes around her. And she has this uncontrollable fear when she gets out of the incinerator, and the fact that she's been lied to her whole life, and it's all done in slow mo, and it was quite effective and powerful. I felt from her in that moment. I mean, I like the sequence where the director, the daughter decides to see what's on the outside of the airlock. And you see this view from the window of the airlock, and it's a narrow field of view. And I know I was kind of expecting a jump scare there, which usually happens in this type of scenario, but it's just a woman saying, the woman played by Hilary Swank, just saying that she's got shot, and it's all a bit underplayed, if you will. A little disappointed that they didn't use a jump scare, but yeah, it was fine, I guess.
All right. Yeah, no, I didn't really have too much of a problem with that. Jump scares are used quite a lot, so
I mean, this film did remind me of 10 Cloverfield Lane a little bit.
I was going to say, a lot of the setup, like, basically the plot, except replace Robotic Mother with John Goodman. And that's this film. Although John Goodman is much, much scarier. He was,
Yes, definitely.
He's a very scary man in there. I liked the mother. I just liked her as a character. I liked the design of her.
Did you like the design?
I think the design is pretty cool. It's like it's meant to look sort of. It's kind of got a low tech, high tech look to it. Do you know what I mean? It looks like
I guess so.
like a child's plaything, but like ballooned up. You know, she doesn't look like too functional, is what I'm saying. And she's got that kind of weird like electronic smiley face.
She's got like a central
eye.
And then these two other white lights that kind of move up and down like a smile. But I'm not sure it quite worked for me at times. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure how you're supposed to read that. But that was a bit of a problem for me. But what I did like, it felt so satisfying to get out of the facility when they come out, you know, to this very like barren landscape, which looks, you know, really misty and eerie. And then you get this roar of these flying drones, which is really effective after being indoors for so long, because this film is so slow. And when they fly over, there's a great shot of the camera like peering through the reeds, and you just get a glimpse of the drone as they go past. I quite like that. Yeah, it just felt good to get outside in that moment. And I like the moment when the daughter decides to go back to the bunker facility, and you get this single like red beam of light that lands on her chest, and then all of a sudden you get like loads of beams of light on her chest. I thought that was really effective, and I was just like, oh shit, she's in trouble now, you know. But then she just says, I want to speak to Mother, and then it's just like, oh, okay, what's happening here? Are they all one consciousness, or what's going on? Which obviously she happens to be all one consciousness, which is quite not a new idea, but a good reveal in that period in the film.
Yeah, I think the general design of like the interior, you know, of the rooms and stuff like that, I think is pretty cool. Yeah. It's like they're quite stripped down and it's quite simple. I think, you know, if you had like a robot home ec or whatever, you know, a robot, what do you call it? Like personate design, interior design. That's the kind of shit that they would do. It's all stripped back. It's all mechanical. It's all,
Yeah, I quite like the production design. That was, you know, nice and sleek and very sci-fi. I'm not sure it does anything terribly new there, but
no, I wouldn't say like there's much like unique in this film. Like I can't really point to something being like something I've never seen before. Yeah, you know? Yeah, definitely not that.
So have you got a favorite shot?
Yeah, her crying like a, you know, surrounded by like ash and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
All right.
I'm trying to think.
Wouldn't describe it as cool, but you know, it's a pretty traumatic moment.
Yeah, I think that was just really effectively done. Also, they did this thing a few times where they have the scene and dialogue of what, you know, the characters talking, but not in the scene that they're actually showing. I think they did that twice.
Yeah.
And that kind of threw me for a bit because I thought they were actually talking. She goes up to her, Hilary Swank, and I thought that's the conversation. But then the camera pans and they're just literally staring at each other. So it's like, no, this conversation is occurring later.
Yeah, that was a bit annoying, to be honest, because it feels like they're trying to save time there. But I'm just like, seriously, this film is too long anyway. Like, what else are you choosing to keep in?
All right. I seem to have picked something that just pissed you off. All right, that's cool.
But I think anything that comes after Mad Max Fury Road isn't going to live up to that, I don't think. But
oh man, you should have watched it in a different order. I watched this first, then Mad Max.
But my favourite shot is when you cut to these incredible wide shots when you're outside of these giant crop fields and you have
the road
what looks like these terraformers.
Yeah, I quite like that shot. I thought that was cool because she's explaining like where the fields come from, and you see traveling over the fields these bloody giant, basically like, I don't know, ships. Yeah, you know.
And then you get like these abandoned oil fields and this giant run aground cargo ship, you know, and it's like you're watching a completely different film at this point. I was like, where has this come from? This is awesome. I definitely wanted to be outside a lot more in this film. So score then for me for directing. I mean, there's a few nice shots. I mean, production design wise, it looks nice and slick, and And the fact that the outside scenes have such strong impact, I quite like that. So I'll give it like a 7.2.
Okay.
I think.
Sounds pretty fair.
How about you, sir?
I kind of agree. I do think, production design. I mean, we've talked about that. It's pretty good. Yeah, I give it like maybe a 7.4, 7 or 7.5, 7.5.
Cool. Screenplay then. Certainly in the opening scenes where the daughter finds the rat, and then like mother kills it like very quickly in the incinerator because it could be contaminated with this virus. That this virus killed everyone. But then, like, how did it get into the facility? Yeah. Are they infected already? And you feel like mother is like hiding something from the daughter. And certainly, as I said early on in this film, in that moment, it very much feels like 10 Cloverfield Lane and a film of that ilk.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, you get that. I kind of. Also thought it's kind of adorable that everything she learns about people is like through old rewatches of television. Like she's still...
Yeah, the Tonight Show gets mentioned again. 2 podcasts running with Fargo.
But I like it's because doesn't she try like shake Hilary Swank's hand or whatever? And it's like, oh yeah, you shake it.
Oh yeah. She obviously doesn't know Earth's history, I guess. Or just so shocked to see another human being.
Yeah, no, I thought that was quite interesting. But I quite like the character of daughter. I suppose do agree with you that this film didn't need to be as long as it did.
No, because I mean, it only starts to get interesting
like
about
halfway through,
about the 34-minute mark when like Hilary Swank turns up. For that 30 minutes, it's all just set up and explaining what's happening, and it's just like, ugh, too long. Get going.
Don't you want to see scenes of her exercising? Doing tests. She's smart, damn it.
I know, half the film is just the daughter just taking an exam. I'm just like, seriously? Boring. And it's just too slow getting up to that point for me. And I think half the problem is that you've only got one human character, and then the other character is a robot, and you don't know exactly what they're feeling. And I think that's just a real problem in the script, to be honest.
That's an interesting way of thinking about it. I mean, like, I don't know. I kind of found it sort of interesting, the fact that you can't really get an idea of what Mother is thinking. Like, that's kind of unnerving. Like, is she just making a little joke, or is she actually,
I guess so.
Far more threatening and evil? I mean, even when because she's keeping Hilary Swank hidden, she doesn't want her to be found. And then, what was it? Hilary Swank actually, like, basically steals her gun back because she took the gun. But she doesn't want her to shoot Mother, and tries to shoot, Mother, and she fucking, I think stabs her or something like that. Well, no, she hits into her. I think she's about to kill her or something, and then she's like, "Stop!" And you think, okay, this is going to go the same way as the rat. She's just going to like incinerate her or whatever, because that's what she was afraid of. But instead, she's like, oh, well, why didn't you say something? Like take her to the medical facility. Do you know what I mean? Try and sort her out. And it just seems a bit unnerving. It's like, she needs to take this penicillin, otherwise she's going to... Yeah, it's just one of those things. You're not sure. Yeah,
you're not sure why Hilary Swank is, like, not trusting the robot.
And the fact that Mother is speaking so monotone, but being so caring, you're like, yeah.
Yeah. Just doesn't feel right, does it,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I like the fact that Mother tells the daughter that the caliber of the bullet that she got shot with from Swank is from another human gun, not a drone. And then just before that, Hilary Swank tells her that she had a friend called Jacob, and they lived in the mine together, and a droid shot her. So at that point in the film, for the daughter, she has to decide like who she has to believe, and it gets a little interesting there, because a bit later on, I like the fact that when Hilary Swank and the daughter are trying to escape from Mother traps daughter in one of the rooms, and you're like, yep, Mother is definitely the baddie here. But then when Swank and the daughter can't get through the airlock, and Swank puts a knife to her throat to make Mother open the door, you're like, oh, Swank is literally using the daughter to escape the place, and really doesn't care less about what happens to the daughter. And you kind of like feel sorry for the Mother a little bit in that moment when they're trying to escape. So I like that little dynamic there. I kind of wish they could maybe have explored that a bit more, but certainly in the maybe sowed the seeds a bit more earlier on. I don't know, but I like that dynamic there.
I think my favourite part, so they do like to do these little twists and stuff. I do kind of agree that maybe Hilary Swank, that stuff should have been introduced a lot earlier. But I think once Hilary Swank is in there and the drama is kind of unfolding, I think it is pretty good. The fact that it's her constantly being told two different things and her actually trying to investigate. It's like she's not a passive hero. She is actually quite intelligent, you know. She's doing all this and she's working it out. It is kind of cool, and it does play like with her emotions of like, yeah, no, maybe Mother is a killer robot, and I should trust this woman who's a human. No, this woman is awful. She's not very very nice, and she doesn't really care about other people at all. And then I like the twist towards the end, plot wise. Again, you know, it's not a massive departure, but it's basically Mother killed everybody. She wiped out the human race. You know, she's responsible for that. Yeah. And she's, you know, rebuilding perfect people.
You guys suck. I want to start again.
I think she says, like, it was her programming to take care of mankind, and she was just, like, discovering that. That sounds very iRobot to me, but you know what I mean. So it's like, and loads of other films. But,
What did you make of the ending in this film?
Yeah, so I think the way I kind of take away from the ending is, like, she's decided... like that she's ready and she's going to repopulate the earth, taking on the lessons of, you know, that she's learned and stuff like that. But Mother is still there. She's still there and almost definitely murdered Hilary Swank at the end. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's probably my favourite scene, actually, that bit.
That was freaky. That was really freaky. I do like...
my favourite line.
I love that because you hear the the banging of the thing and she's there, you know, and it was, you know, that was amazing. Yeah, that was one of my favourite lines as well because she was like... did you not even know your mother? You know, and it's like...
she says, oh, tell me, did you remember your mother? Curious, isn't it? That you've survived so long where others have not. And as if someone's had a purpose for you until now. And then closes the door, and then you know, it's insinuated that the robot's going to kill Hilary Swank.
So the way I interpret that line, and this might be going a stretch, I don't think it's a stretch, because I think this is... like how it was intended, but you have to like read the subtext. Okay. I think the first girl shown, at the beginning, is actually Hilary Swank. Yeah, I do reckon. Yeah, I reckon that one is actually Hilary Swank, and that Hilary Swank, because she said she doesn't remember her mother, she was just dropped off with people. I reckon Mother, they've got the subtext there, literally just dropped her off as a kind of mole. To find no, I'm serious. To find other human beings. And Hilary Swank's...
have we forgotten any? Go look for some.
Well, I mean...
even though we've got lots of ships anyway.
You know, but I mean, the fact is, when she gets in the facility, what is it that Mother keeps asking her, even when she's in the medical bay? Where are the other humans? You know, you're telling my daughter there are other humans in the mine. They might be in danger. They might be in trouble. They need medical attention. Because I don't think any of this was, you know... is an accident. I think she literally 20 years ago or something, or 30. I don't know how old Hilary Swank is. Actually, that's pretty horrible. I don't know. Well, 20 years. I mean, that's a compliment for her. You know, I don't know how old. Yeah. However old she is. Yeah,
looking good.
So I reckon about maybe 30, 40 years ago or whatever. She dropped her off just with some survivors to find other human beings, and almost like fortuitously, she's returned. Yeah, and teaches a valuable lesson to her new daughter, and now, you know, she's not really of any use. You know, that's what I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting the fact that Mother basically tells the daughter that she has to kill her to kill the mother at the end. Just the fact that I'll probably just get in the way, and I guess you got to kill me because I killed all these other children as well, murdered them. So it's like, I can't really have you around anymore because of that. That would just be in my head too much. I don't know. It just felt a bit muddled there. Maybe I need to rewatch it again. But
well, I think, you know, I think the point is that she only did one child at a time was to, you know, have one that is almost perfect that can decide the rest of the children. I don't think she I don't know, this is how I'm interpreting it. I don't think she literally wants to raise all the kids. And I think it's just, you know, it's fortuitous. Like, she would have to leave anyway. But I think she was waiting till she was ready, and then she was proving at the end, but I am ready. All of this is shown I am ready.
Yeah, the mother's not needed anymore, kind of thing. She has no purpose anymore at that point, I guess, from the mother's perspective.
Yeah. I think she's not going to be in the facility in that old body, but as you see at the end, she's still going to be killing what's left of humanity. She's still going to go around there, but she's not going to be involved with the daughter.
Yeah, because I guess if she's there still, she's all ready there to hit the reset button if needed, if everything goes to shit
definitely,
again. So, right, score for screenplay then. For me, I admire the ideas this film is going for in a slightly different way of what we've seen many, many times before in cinema. But again, like why do you have to wait 34 minutes before something interesting happens? It's just far too long for me and too slow. I certainly like a lot of the outside scenes, as I said. I wanted more of that. So I'll go a 6.9, I think. How about you, sir?
I think I don't know. That's pretty harsh, but that's okay. That's okay. That's all right. I think I'll go a 7. That's what I'm feeling.
Right, acting then. I mean, I really liked Hilary Swank's performance, like when she's talking to the daughter in the infirmary, when she's trapped there, and she looks so tired and scared, and she's trying to tell her what she's seen outside, and you get this sense that she could be capable of anything if she gets out. I just like that initial performance from Hilary Swank, and as I said, when she arrives, it's this film really gets going.
Like when she is fucking in a lot of pain, I think she conveys that quite well. Her thing is her wound is septic and stuff like that.
And when they have to drill the bullet out, I'm like, wow, that sounds really dangerous. And the daughter seems to be a highly qualified surgeon as well. To drill the bullet out of her. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough.
Pretty crazy.
But I think arguably my favourite moment in certainly of acting and maybe the film as a whole is probably the very last shot, actually, on Clara Rudgard, when she sees herself as the main mother now. She's looking into the embryo room and she looks down, and then when she looks up again, it's like I was looking at a different character, just that look on her face. She just looks so empowered in that very last moment. Just really, really great acting there. I was like, oh, who is this person? I've not seen this person before.
No, I think that's a pretty good character cycle, I think, and the way it's acted. Through most of it, she's unsure of herself, she's nervous, she's scared, she's confused, and then it's great that she actually takes on that responsibility and is she's fine with it.
I must say the character that's mother is played by an actor. I guess he was in the mocap suit or something, played by Luke Hawker.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the voice was a guy. I was like, no, it's not.
No, that's Rose Byrne. I thought he did incredibly well, to be fair, because I think if you didn't know that, it's so robotic. It's really good, I would say.
I like any time she runs. It's so much different. She can walk again, just very slow and measured. But when she runs, holy fucking hell, she goes. So it's pretty scary. The first breach where it breaches the thing and Hilary Swank's there and she just pegs it. Yeah, that was pretty scary. Yeah.
Pelts it, yeah. Because I quite like that, actually, because you get the sense that in the mystery of when you go through this film, when she does run like that ridiculously fast, it's is this robot a multi-purpose robot? Is she just purely a mother figure robot in this story for the daughter, or is she been converted in something? I think there's just, you get the sense that there is history in this design, because you see all the robots, they pretty much look exactly the same. And they're all military.
Yeah, except they've got guns.
Military droids. So it just adds to the mystery of it.
So I was going to talk about dialogue and stuff like that, and just some of the dialogue I quite liked from Mother, especially. Just I don't know, it's just some things I found quite funny that she said.
Okay.
So one, it's mainly because it's quite tense and you're not sure, and there's some, and I like the attempts at humor. So one where she was talking about have you put your pajamas in the laundry, daughter? Yeah. You know, the ones that were contaminated. And she's like, oh, yes, I have. Good, I was beginning to think you had forgotten where the laundry was located. And she's like, that's my attempt at humour. It was like, I just thought that was funny, just that adage. It's like, oh, yeah, that's quite funny. Yeah. And then when they're going to finally confront each other, and she's like, Clara's like holding an axe. But it's like, you know, do you want to come see your baby brother? And it's like, you need two hands to hold him. I just like that, and she has to drop the axe. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I thought that was cute.
Okay. That just reminded me of that scene in Mad Max when the big guy shouts, I had a baby brother!
He was perfect in every way! Different film, and we'll get onto that in a minute.
Sorry. I do apologise.
No, you don't.
Nope. Any other acting moments you liked? Or
also when, you know, Clara learns that she, the woman kind of lied to her, that she's living with people and stuff like that. She's actually like a loner who just...
What, in the container?
Yeah, she's basically asking her the whole bloody way. It's like, you know, where's the fucking cave and stuff? It's like... And it's a shipping container, and she basically just confesses to her, like, I left them because they're not great people. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're killing each other and eating each other and doing all kinds of horrible stuff. So ran away from that, and how she's just like, we need to save my brother and stuff like that. And I just quite like that.
So have you got a favourite performance?
What, an actor? Yeah.
It can be Luke.
It could be Luke Walker,
if you want, or Rose Byrne as the voice of Mother.
I think I'm going to pick the daughter, Clara Rudgall.
Okay, I'm going to go Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank was really good.
I think as soon as she gets on screen, she's
Hilary
great.
Swank's really good.
So score, I think I'm going to go. I mean, Hilary Swank is great. Clara Rudgall is fine. I don't think any of them do anything particularly special in this film, so I'll go like 7.3. I think. How about you, sir?
I'll go. I don't know. I'll go 7.4. Let's one up you a little.
Right, let's add up the scores then for I Am Mother.
No, you're not.
I Am Mother gets 43.3. Pretty average.
Pretty average score. Pretty average film.
Right, moving on to my film then. The George Miller masterpiece, that is arguably, possibly the best Mad Max film, Mad Max Fury Fucking Road.
The fucking isn't actually there.
No roads get fucked. But,
they might as well have done.
Yeah. When I decided to do, post-apocalyptic films associated with A Quiet Place, I really didn't take long choosing what I wanted to pick because it was my turn, and I was like to pick first. So I was like, I can't really go anywhere else but Mad Max Fury Road, to be honest, because it's so good, so rewatchable.
And when you kind of said that, I was post-apocalyptic films, and you picked Mad Max Fury Road, I knew I was kind of shit out of luck. It was like,
gonna lose.
Shit out of luck. I couldn't really think of anything that could beat that. It is a pretty damn good movie. So I do agree with that. I've watched it many times now. I think this must be my 5th or 6th time I've watched this film. So really? I fucking love this movie. So so it was a joy to watch again.
So what is this about? So this is about Max Rocksteady being recast by Tom Hardy. So he gets captured by the War Boys, and he gets taken back to the Citadel, run by Immortan Joe, this like god type figure to the Citadel, and he gets created into this like blood bag as a universal donor, and he gets tattoos all over his back. And then a character called Nux, a Half-Life war boy, is using him as a blood bag. But then meanwhile, a Imperator called Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, which is basically her film, really. But she is going on a normal run to get more fuel from Gastown. So she takes the war rig and a small party of war boys. On the way, she turns left. And that's the plot twist, turning left. And then Immortan Joe looks through the telescope and just like, why the hell have they turned left? What's going on? And you soon discover that they have taken Immortan Joe's wives, breeders, as he calls them. And so pretty much everyone chases after them, and it's basically a long chase. for the rest of the film, with Tom Hardy as the blood bag of Nooks' character on a V8 car, and he escapes and then helps Charlize Theron's character Furiosa and the wives from there on. So yeah, this is such an epic ride. What do you think about this film initially when you first watched it?
Yeah, no, my jaw hit the... How do you make that exciting? This makes it exciting every point. Like, it's seriously... It's not just that it's amazing action, it's great character development. Again, just this giant fucking chase scene. And great pacing and amazing effects, practical and CGI. Just makes for a beautiful, beautiful movie. It's just, it looks so good.
Yeah, because George Miller described this film like in other films, in action films, you get the action bits and you get the talky bits. With this film, you have the action bits and the talky bits at the same time.
Yeah. Said like a real technical master of his craft, you know.
So directing then, we'll get onto the action, but it doesn't take long at all for you to realise who the bad guy is in this film, and that's Immortan Joe. I mean, the design of the costume is just, it's kind of quite cool, but horrible at the same time, with like the white skull teeth as his breathing
He's
apparatus.
basically a post-apocalyptic Bane,
you know.
which is funny because he's getting fought by Bane, you know. But yeah, so that's kind of weird. But
yeah. And then you have like this see-through armor with like medals on it, and which is intriguing. But it looks like there's like stains of blood in it as well. It's fucking horrible.
I think you learn quite a lot about him just in his introduction. Like, one, he is like almost a godlike figure because you've got all these people around him. He's being powdered. He's very sick, as you can see. You know, because his body is like it's fucking decaying.
Melting off. His skin is melting off.
And he's got this breathing stuff. But at the same time, very vain, you know, the plastic with the six-pack and shit like that and the medal.
Yeah.
And and as you said, even little touches of just blood and stuff. You kind of get his entire character just from his introduction. And, you know, you're like, this is who this guy is. He is a, you know, egomaniac, warlord, you know, fucking wannabe god, you know.
And I mean, I love all the design elements in this film, other than the fact that those pipes is just a complete waste of water, but there we go. But yeah, all the designs of the cars, that they all made those for real, and it just feels very like retro futuristic, and there's the design of the costumes and things just looks.
I think
so
it's really
great.
cool, and like it. Yeah, it just feels it's one of those things that you can't pigeonhole it. Like, it does feel like it's, you know, sci-fi but retro-y, but also kind of fantastical as well. Like, you know, you got all these people talking about,
like with the sandstorm.
the sandstorm. People talking about like a car religion, and they're all the war boy, witness me, and all that stuff. It seems very fantastical.
Car. Anyway,
it's pretty amazing.
I mean, I love the first battle scene with the war rig when they get attacked by like the buzzard cars, the spiky cars. It's so like high speed, and you're right in the action. I love the moment when Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, like fixes the gas pedal to the floor, and she comes out of like the side of the door and then shoots one of the cars, and it crashes into another one in like great slow motion, and there's dust everywhere, and then another massive spiky truck comes through the dust. It just looks fucking awesome, that shot. That was really cool. And like every explosion and car crash looks so impressive, and it's all real. Some of it done in slow motion. It just looks incredible.
I think what's great is just the inventiveness of the action. Like, action will always get boring if it's the same thing. If it's the same punch, it's the same kick, it's the same crash over and over again. But the great thing is just this film never runs out of ideas on how to absolutely trash a car,
definitely.
you know, or to how like absolutely screw up a body. It's like,
they're like, well, we haven't destroyed.
We haven't done it
this
that way.
Yet. Let's
we
try.
We haven't done a trap that springs out of the floor. That's
then it's like
that was amazing. Yeah, and it flips it. We haven't done that guy who basically kamikazed into the car. You know, he got two lances and just jumped off. I love that bit and slow mo.
I mean, that bit is real. I mean, he doesn't die, obviously, but
yeah, he had two explosive lances.
But, I mean,
You can only do
But,
this once.
You know,
one
both
take.
cars. But I mean, both cars were there, you know, driving at high speed. He's all rigged up, and he does jump from one car to the other, and obviously they stop it just before he hits the car. But he does do that for real. It's really impressive, that. I would say this film is a great example of how to use CGI, especially in, like, the sandstorm scene. Like, the film is obviously taking liberties a little bit with, like, the vivid comic book style and these incredible bright oranges and browns and blues of the sky. You know, it's done in a very satisfying way because the CG isn't used to create the stunts themselves, you know, or the driving. It's all real. And they use it to create this incredible visual style for the sandstorm, and with these incredible reds and oranges. And then you get these flashes of lightning inside that creates these glimpses of blues and greys, which is quite a really great visual there. It truly is like a feast for the eyes. And the CG is always used to enhance the visual look of the film, not to create what's actually happening, because then you come straight out of the film, you know, if that happens. And frankly, most of the CG is used to remove safety cables and rigging, to be honest. That's it. That was its main purpose.
No, it's an amazing technical achievement of just, like, you know, what you can do with practical effects and stuff. But yeah, absolutely incredible. It enhances things like, you know, the danger factor. You know, it's like, yeah, man, this feels risky. This feels like these guys could die. Probably because they could, you know. But yeah, absolutely astounding.
And then you get the really great, like, juxtaposition of the pacing after the frantic nature of the chase in the sandstorm to Max ever so slowly rising from the sand, and then cut with, like, these real, like, volcano bursts, which weirdly, like, reflects, like, what's going on in his head, I guess. You know, I quite like that bit as well.
Yeah, actually, he has a lot of, like, guilt memory hallucinations that are all fairly quite freaky, you know, of little girls and old people and other people, you know, getting in his way and raising their hands to him, and just, like, a lot of weird imagery. I think the best use of that, because you see it so many times throughout the film, when he's in a moral dilemma and this little girl trying to, like reach out for him. I think that my two favourite scenes with that are one where he's woken up by Furiosa, and he has, like, this flash of, like, the girl and some other guys, and then, like, hands covering his face, like, and then, like, you know, like, red eyes and stuff, and then he wakes up, and I was like, whoa, that is vivid. And the other one I quite like is in the middle of an action scene, because you haven't seen that, you know, him having these hallucinations, which he sees constantly through the film, but, like, in the middle of, he is fighting someone. Yeah,
because, like, one of the girls, like, puts her hand in front of her face, and then Max is on top of the wall rig, and he puts his hand up just instinctively because he sees it in his head in front of his face.
Yeah, because it's the little girl reaching out for him, and he blocks it with his hand, but it blocks the arrow. Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it basically reinforces this idea of survival for Max. You know, his whole ethos in this film is survival. You know, just survive. Forget about hope. Just survive. Yeah. You know, I think one of my favourite shots is actually when Furiosa is being told that they went past the green place and it's pretty much gone now. And there's a few shots of Furiosa taking off the mechanical arm and, like, falling to her knees. It's just really beautifully shot and composed, those shots, and you can really feel her pain in those moments. And when the dialogue from all the women gets very echoey, you know, it kind of emphasizes the confusion and the disbelief that she's going through in those moments. I guess maybe the only criticism I would say is maybe that scene could be a little bit longer, a few extra beats maybe, because it kind of feels like it ends quite quickly. But that's just a very, very minor quibble, really.
When what was it? He tells them to go off ahead. No, I think that's it. They're stuck or something. And he says, I'll sort these people out. I think that was it. The engines overheat. That's it. The engines overheat. You've got that crazy bullet farmer guy who's made blind, shooting into the nothingness to try and catch somebody. And Mad Max, it's just such a badass scene. It's like, you know, I'll deal with it. Well, what if, you know, when the engines have cooled down? Well, then just drive off. Just comes back and it's like just fire, you know, like set that car on fire. You don't even
Yeah.
see the fight scene, but I think that's what makes it
Yeah.
more badass. You've seen all this action, and just the fact that he's so cool, he can go out. He's literally killed these guys, set the thing on fire, and he's just dragging like lots of bullets and provisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
love
was a
that.
great scene.
I thought that was quite brave decision from George Miller not to show that, because you just see it from Charlize Theron's perspective. You just see her reaction. Miller could have easily shown that action because, you know, everything else is shown to the nth degree. But I think it works this way because it just shows in her eyes that Max is a good guy, and it builds a stronger connection between them. And I think if you show Max taking out the bullet farmer just by himself, there's no like relation, and you lack that connection between him and the female characters later on, you know. So I thought that was quite a clever piece of writing there. The action scene where they get attacked on the way back with all the goons like swinging on the poles is just immense. Like all the stunt guys on the war rig with Tom Hardy, and there's so many moving parts in that whole chase back to the Citadel. You know, with the gas town leader dying, like the really fat guy with the fake nose. Slit gets crushed in Max's car between two lorries or whatever, two vehicles. Furiosa gets stabbed, and George Miller has to be so clear on what vehicle is where and who's driving what, as well as keeping the pace and intensity up. And one way he does that is, if you notice, Miller always has the important narrative action in the center of the frame, so the audience can recognize very clearly and quickly what's going on, and you can still have that decent pace to the film. Very simple but very clever way of directing. It's so masterful, and it ends with like the gas town fuel tanker just blowing up while Max is on the top of the pole. It's just incredible stuff.
And also, what was it? They keep showing the fucking guitarist with the. That's the most metal thing. He's on a war rig.
Yeah, such an easy job. It's like, just play guitar.
Yeah,
like, hell yeah,
guitar
awesome.
flamethrower. You know, it's the best thing ever. Imagine that at a concert. You know, it's just yeah, he's having the time of his life. But I love you see him a concert and they work him into a fight scene. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that was cool because he's all like on.
Yeah, he's on like
springs
as well.
you know.
Stuff. Yeah, that was amazing. Like on bungee cords.
Like flipping the war rig as well is pretty spectacular at the end.
And also, you know, they're going to writing, but you know the kind of cathartic feeling from it as well, because that's how Nux, basically him going to heaven, you know. It's like his redemption, I would say, yeah. Like he wants to go with them, but no, he's got to make a stand and he's got to die. He's got to sacrifice himself.
Witness this.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, witness me, he says, doesn't he? Yeah, it's interesting what they do with Nux, because he fails to die a glorious death with the chrome spray to go to Valhalla, and he kind of just loses his ethos, you know, of what he's supposed to be all about with the War Boys and with Immortan Joe. And there's that, and it kind of starts with the fact that Immortan Joe looks at him and he looks so shocked. He's like, he looked at me. He looked at me. You know, and all that just slowly crumbles away the more he gets to know the brides and what he was doing to them. So I thought that was quite good. Those three certainly get like a really good arc. Yeah. Have you got a favorite shot then? Man. Or favorite action scene? Oh man,
it's just the whole film, basically. Yeah, from beginning to end. Favorite shot? Holy crap! Maybe the slow motion Nux's death, where he blows up the war rig at the end. That was pretty damn cool.
So my favorite shot, or favorite stunt, if you will, is the war rig flip is pretty insane and nuts. But I quite liked it when the monster truck jumps across the front of the war rig. It was just really cool. And plus the action scene with all the jumping bikes, lobbing the grenades at the war rig is just really impressive as well. Yeah, I love that jump because it's such a huge vehicle with massive tires.
Yeah,
you know, and there's literally a guy like hanging off the side of it, and he is literally there as well. It's just like fucking hell.
There were some like technical things that I thought were quite amazing.
Yeah,
like even stuff about the war rig itself. Like I think it's in the second or third bout of action. The war rig is like literally on fire. Like the front is on fire, and like I can't see shit. There's flames. And she presses a button, and the cow catcher thing.
Oh,
it has
right,
like a cow catcher. that scoops all the sand into the
Yeah,
onto the flames. I thought that
I
was
like
pretty damn
the the design of the war rig. All the there's during the fight, like Furiosa punches, like breaks a skull, and there's a handgun on the side.
Yeah, that was cool.
What else is there? And there's like a particular sequence that Furiosa only knows, to start the ignition on the war rig. That was cool.
Yeah, because you think like Max has left him, or is Max going to come back? And it's like, nope, it won't drive without her.
Yeah.
Basically. Immortan Joe getting his fate, that was pretty gnarly.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap, that was...
His face mask just being ripped
intense.
off, his teeth, rather.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was cool.
Where it was kind of an unusual shot, and one I've not really seen that much, and this is just as a shot, and not necessarily... It didn't even have any action in it, but where one of the old ladies, like, dies.
Oh, yeah.
And that was very strange. Like, there's a sort of kaleidoscope thing going on behind her. It was very surreal.
She gets inadvertently shot in the neck or something. And she just stays completely deathly still, doesn't she? Just like
she is completely still. Yeah, and just on the camera, like in the center, just it's haunting. And there is it's a kind of, I don't know, it's a strange lighting effect going on. It just looks quite eerie.
Yeah, Melissa Jaffa, I think that was.
Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty interesting way to show like a character dying.
Yeah, that was great performance there, actually.
Yeah,
I
like muted
that.
noises and just like I can't really describe it. It's like a kind of like weird filter.
So what's your score for directing for Mad Max Fury Road?
Holy crap, man. Yeah, no, this is like a masterclass. I think I'd go like 9.3. 9.5.
5 or 3?
Yeah, fuck it. 9.3. I'll go 9.3.
Oh, okay.
I think it's definitely like one of the most... it's like the most fun I think you can have in a film. It is so much fun. I could watch this, I think, several times in a row. Like, this is just an incredibly fun movie.
Just on a technical level, it's so impressive. And you're not even going into the design and how it looks. The CG is just...
Yeah,
it's masterful.
Absolutely, yeah. So I would say, like, on a technical level, just almost nothing like it. On a visual level, aesthetics, just brilliant. Pacing, it's wonderfully paced. Acting, which goes into the directing as well. It's just amazing. Everything is just top notch. Really good film.
I'm going to go pretty high, to be honest. I think I can't find many faults. I really can't. Maybe, that scene I mentioned, that maybe just a few extra beats for the pain for Furiosa when she finds out the green place is gone. I think certainly when I first watched it, the first few times, like the last fight, as the war rig approaches the crash, you get lost. I felt I did get lost a little bit where everyone was, like what vehicle were they on. But certainly when I've watched it for this podcast, I wasn't lost at all. So those are very minor points. So I'm going to go like 9.8. I think it's so good.
Yeah. So I would say like my least favorite shot is a CGI shot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a shame because it's one of the last action shots. But when everything blows up, and I'm fine with that. That looks cool.
Oh, right.
Wargrid tip, it blows up. And I'm not sure if it's necessarily I don't like the CGI or it's just something that's not right with me, but where you see all that explosion and all the carnage and the guitar like springing back and forth.
Oh, right. Oh, I like that. That was cool.
I wasn't really feeling that. That still doesn't look right to me.
I thought you were going to say when the wheel goes through the camera kind of thing, goes through the shot.
Yeah, I don't know. Just that whole thing. Like, some of it just doesn't look too right to me. Most of the rest of the film is like amazing. And it doesn't look egregiously bad that it's, it's completely dismissible. I'm just like, it's a bit, it doesn't sit 100% with me, that shot. But yeah.
People.
No, I'm just saying that's the most harshness you're going to get out of me on this film.
Yeah.
Just like, there's a crash scene where some debris flying looks a bit strange. Yeah. But beside that, it's pretty perfect. I had to find some faults, so, people didn't think I'm a shill for, like, what's he paying you? But yeah.
Right, screenplay then. I love this screenplay, basically because the script is the storyboard, pretty much. You know, the script is so visual and every shot is meticulously planned out, and this film completely works if there is no sound or music. The film will make sense if you turn the sound off. It will. It's so visual in that way. And I think, you know, that's a testament to the acting and the stunt work as well, that it would work that way. Apparently there are 3,500 panels of storyboards in this film, you know, in the writer's room in pre-production. And about 80% of those were shot, and which took 8 months to shoot. 8 months. You know, and this was not shot in like a nice temperature or whatever. This is shot in Namibia, where it's fucking hot for 8 months. I mean, fucking hell. What a mammoth task, and what an achievement. I mean, I really like the opening voiceover, which re-establishes who this character is and why he's called Mad Max, because obviously we haven't seen this character for like, I don't know, 20 plus years.
I think, what was it? This is actually the first Mad Max film I've watched.
Really?
And this is kind of a strange one, because this isn't necessarily a reboot. In fact, I think the director has been a bit hazy about whether to call it a sequel or a reboot. But he's been a bit hazy about that. And I think the term like soft reboot you can go into this never watching a Mad Max film. So I've never watched a Mad Max film. It doesn't lean on the previous films at all.
Really? You have not seen Mad Max Road Warrior?
No, so basically, I'd never watched Mad Max. I'd watched clips, and obviously, I'd seen the Thunderdome fight. I didn't have much knowledge about Mad Max, but the Thunderdome fight, some clips, but not much. And then I watched this film, and I was like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah.
I said to my dad, and I was like, you got to watch this film, Mad Max, and he's like, they've probably ruined Mad Max. He loved all the previous films. So we watched this together. He adored this film. He thought it was amazing. Yeah. It's one of the best films he's ever seen. And then, what was it? Then I watched the first one. So that's the only two I've actually watched. I've watched the first one, which couldn't be more different, I've heard, than any of the other ones. Like, it kind of seems just like a gritty cop drama in regular Australia. Yeah. Like, it doesn't seem post-apocalyptic at all.
It's one of George Miller's first films, I think. So.
Do you know, interesting fact, the guy that plays Toe Cutter in the first Mad Max film played Immortan Joe.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah. Hugh Keys Byron, I think.
But anyway, I think from a story point of view, I think that makes it a really good film, because it's like, you can watch it as a sequel, as a continuation
you definitely can,
of the series, and it completely fits. Or you can just be completely new to it, and you will 100% get it, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't have to have prior knowledge at all.
Yeah, and, so, at the start, he says in voiceover, "Here they come again, worming their way into the black matter of my brain. I tell myself they cannot touch me. They are long dead." And then later on, he's captured by the war boys and says, "A man reduced to a single instinct, survive." He's basically on the edge of insanity, and just all he wants to do is just survive as long as he can, by any means necessary. And yet this character still has like a moral compass. We get these glimpses of these children he's failed to save, and he's haunted by them, which I thought was quite clever. And he's not just this like bland cop on the edge of going crazy. I like the design of some of the flashbacks. It's just really cool, because the way people go through different stages of decay, especially through that chase scene at the start, where some of them go, it cuts really quickly, like right down to the bones.
Yeah, to skeletons.
That was quite cool. And you just get a glimpse of just like what's going on in his head, what's haunting him.
I also think a great part of the story, I suppose, and I think also will help as well if you're never really introduced to it. And some people have taken issue with it. I don't actually mind. Right. It's like Max in this, I wouldn't say is like the hero. He becomes like the hero or a main hero.
I would say he's the hero.
But I would say. Well, I would say the hero for me is Furiosa. Like, full on. It's Furiosa. She's the hero. And then, I think she convinces him. She eventually he's like, yeah, no, okay, I'm with you, and I'm going to try and help you guys and save you, and comes up with the plan and stuff. But I would say, I think the focus is on her a lot, I think she is kind of the compass of the film. I think it's more to do with, at this point, Max has kind of lost his humanity. You get that feeling, and he kind of rediscovers it on this journey. That's her journey. It's her journey. It's her quest. I think it's her story featuring Mad Max. Like, Mad Max basically steps up. Him being with her through all these struggles and stuff, he steps up. But I think she plays a vital role in the movie. Like,
yeah, I would say, like, you know, Furiosa is very much the emotional side of this film, and wanting to free these women from incarceration, from Immortan Joe, this horrible man and this horrible city. But I would still say, like, Max is, like, equally the hero as Furiosa, because I think if he wasn't there, they wouldn't have survived this. Because obviously Max literally saves her life, and with, you know, the blood transfusion or whatever. I mean, that stuff doesn't bother me about how realistic it is. I don't really care about that. The whole, I mean, the way it worked to me looked very convincing, and it's just showing, like, what he's trying to do there. Just that's all you need to know in that moment, that he's just saving her life. But what I love is the fact that Max is very much a man with no name type character. You know, he's the Shane type character. I don't know if you've seen that classic Western Shane.
Yeah, I've seen Shane.
Where, you know, he comes into this, he's just a drifter coming into this town and saves everyone and then just goes off again on his travels. You know, I really like that aspect of the story in this. He can't, because he's haunted so much by all these kids that he couldn't save. He needs to try and, like, save as many people as he can and just move on to the next thing, you know, and survive.
I thought it was a really great twist at the end. Well, basically, this place that they're going to just doesn't exist. Like, it's gone.
Yeah.
And what was it? Max's plan at the end? Because, I mean, he could just think, like, screw you guys. Like, I've got...
Yeah.
She basically says, you've got enough fuel, you can go off to wherever you like. And he comes up with this brilliant plan, like, for story purposes. It's just amazing. It's just like, let's just go back.
Yeah.
And it sounds crazy, but it's like, yeah, let's just go back. I like how even one of the brides goes, I thought you weren't mad anymore. You know, it's like, well, it makes perfect sense. It's like, they're all out here. If we can just go there and make sure they can't come back, then we've got the Citadel, yeah. I thought that was a really great twist. Because
Max says to Furiosa, hope is a mistake. If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane. And he's trying to bring her into his own ethos of all you can do in this world is survive. The best way to do that is to go, you know, back the way you came, you know, to the Citadel, where there's water and you know that there are green plants and, you know, a safe place without them, because they're behind you. If they're just going to stick with hope, you're just going to die. Yeah. All you're going to see is salt along those flats, you know. There's some cool lines in this movie, you know, with like the culture of like the War Boys and the Valhalla stuff, and I live, I die, I live again is kind of like the War Boys mantra. They will be victorious in Valhalla, or whatever.
Witness!
Witness me! You will ride eternal, shiny and chrome.
Yeah.
One of my favourite lines, nearly my favourite line, is from the Bullet Farmer. When after he gets blinded, he's like firing both machine guns going, and he says, I am the scales of justice, conductor of the choir of death. You know? Yeah.
It's like, sing, boys, sing. Yeah. I love that performance. It's like, he was pretty crazy. I liked him. I liked him very much. He was delightfully crazy.
Yeah. Have you got a favourite line then?
Yeah, maybe that one by the Bullet Farmer.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. That was a really good one.
I think I feel bad for Nux that this is my favourite line, but when Immortan Joe tells Nux to, you know, get back one of his wives, and he jumps across to the war rig, and he like drops his gun, and Immortan Joe just says, mediocre. I don't know. I just really like that moment. It's funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nux. Sorry.
What were some other ones? He's a smeg who likes Schlanger.
Oh, yeah.
She has some really weird ways to insult people.
Yeah, Abby Lee, the Dag, she's called.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like all the names in this film. It's really quite creative, and you got Nux, Immortan Joe, Rictus, Rectus, played by Nathan Jones.
Rectum.
Cheeto, the Fragile, the People Eater, the Dag.
Well, that's not that inventive. He eats people.
No, Slit. Yeah. One of my favorites is actually from Zoe Kravitz. She's just called Toast the Knowing.
Nice.
And the Splendid Anhagrad. And the guitar player guy is the Duff Warrior.
Oh my god.
The Organic Mechanic, played by Angus Sampson. You know, he cuts the baby out of one of the brides. Great names. So, score for screenplay?
Yeah, I'd get it up there. Like a 9.
Yeah, I think the fact that they literally based so much of their script on the screenplay, you know, it's all so visual, and literally all the shots you see and all the, you know, everything that's cut together is sewn right into the script. I think is so impressive. And, you know, and some of the lines are great as well. Mediocre. And
what a day! What a lovely, lovely day!
Yeah, and the names are great. It's just, again, like, there's not much default in the script either. It's very simple. You know, the plot twist is basically Furiosa turning left. That's the plot twist.
Yeah.
And then there's another twist where the green place isn't there, and they just go back.
She's got to turn left again. She's got to turn left again to go back. So there's 2 twists. Turning left and turning left.
Yeah.
But yeah, still brilliant. Brilliant film.
I'll go 9.1, I think. Bloody brilliant. Right, acting then. I think most of the great acting in this film is basically the stunt work. You know, the stunts are incredible. I mean...
Yeah, the physical acting is pretty insane.
Yeah. I mean, the fight between Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy is really great. Especially Charlize. She really goes for it like a crazed animal against Tom Hardy. And the fight feels like really brutal, but it doesn't feel choreographed at all, which I really liked. No. You don't know how it's going to end. And you have this added element of Nicholas Hoult, who plays Nux, waking up, which was cool because you don't know for sure which side he's going to help or just help himself. That was a great fight there. Oh, yeah, there's a moment like after Splendid dies, like Charlize is brilliant, like trying to keep it together, and Tom Hardy is doing the same thing, but just trying to keep it together mentally. He's in mental status together because he's having all these flashbacks, as you said, creeping into his head. And I think that's the one where like all the hands go all over him. I can't remember, you know, the fact that he's let another one die. Do you remember that bit when the pregnant wife dies? That was quite a good fake out actually, because you think the Rock's got her, and then she gets dragged out of the war rig. The performances from Charlize and Tom Hardy there were really great.
Yeah, they were good. I think she did a pretty damn good job herself. You know, the Splendid or Resplendid or whatever. I thought she was pretty cool. You know, quite sad that she bit the...
Yeah, Rosie Huntington Whiteley. Any other acting moments you liked? Or stunts you liked?
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, man, there's just so many. So many. There's so many. There's too many. Do you remember? This is more a scene, actually. It's very hard to like nail one down. But you know when? So Nux is second in command. He was cool, and I loved where they're basically having a competition of spitting fuel into the engines to make them go. And he's just so like, ah!
Yeah, that was.
I don't know. I can't imitate it. Oh man, he's giddy, but also it's like trying to show them
Josh
up.
Hellman, who basically has like a Joker scar across his mouth.
Yeah, yeah,
it's quite.
Yeah, I think because he's like a tiny bit part, but he was really good.
Yeah, I like that.
He was really good as well. Yeah, as you said, Nick Hoult when he realizes he's been on the wrong team and just lots of stuff.
Yeah, and the fact that Tom Hardy spends half the film on the outside of the vehicles is pretty insane as well, to be honest. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I liked one of the stunts from the female characters after she's like fairly near the end, where she's bucked off her bike and is firing at Immortan Joe as he's approaching. And then as he gets closer and closer, she dives like under the car as it goes over the top of her. I thought that was really impressive.
But then she gets hit.
Yeah, then she gets mowed over, but by the people.
Yeah, that was horrible.
But I'm not sure whether they composited that, but I would love to think that was real, like actually done for real. But I'm not sure. But it looked fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And it did make me wince a bit. I was like, whoa, shit. That was fucking close.
Yeah, same. Like, I've seen this, as you said, I've seen this film so many times, yet you still kind of forget bits, or you're like, whoa. I'm like, the suspense in this film is just amazingly, is amazingly done, just, it knows how to deliver.
Well, just the relentlessness. I'm not sure it's that suspenseful. It's just, it keeps going and going and going, and there's just more outrageous
and
stuff.
it's also upping it. Yeah,
you know,
it's upping it as well. I mean, I think this is a fairly early fight scene where they shoot a harpoon, and it takes the goddamn steering wheel, and it's like,
oh yeah,
and it's like
He's
he nearly
stuck.
takes his hand
he's
off.
stuck.
Yeah,
his hand gets stuck. Yeah,
that was incredible, and it's just like you're like, whoa, and you're like, yeah, and there's still stuff going on. You're like, oh my god, there are people jumping over the bonnet, blowing up the. It's so much. As you're right, it just kind of stacks it. And you're like, this is crazy.
But I think this film is actually quite emotional at some points. I mentioned Furiosa's pain with those beautiful shots of her on the sand dune on her knees is great, but I really love the moments at the end, which actually gave me chills on the rewatch for the podcast. And when Furiosa and the girls are lifted up into the Citadel, and Max is in the crowd, and they keep their eyes on each other, Max and Furiosa, and Max just nods to her, and then just moves away through the crowd. It's quite an emotional, actually, for me, partly because the music is incredible by Junkie XL. I mean, the music is amazing throughout the film, so great. But because Max is like so selfless that he saved their lives and just went through this incredible journey, and that he chooses to move on, but have this like little moment between them is quite touching, and it's just kind of like a moment of release for the audience, which is like, wow, these characters have been through so much. I mean, did you feel quite emotional in that point?
Yeah, definitely. They've just been through hell and back, and then back again, and then to hell and back again. You can tell from the look on their face that this meant a lot. And
the music plays a big part in that, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Brilliant music.
But I think it is a satisfying conclusion. And this is why, it's just a great self-contained film.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to have been part of a franchise, but the fact that it is, that's great. If you like these films, this is a great conclusion to that. But it's just, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's such a great, satisfying end for the characters.
I think there's a mistake with so many films nowadays of trying to be sequel bait for another film.
You don't have that here.
You don't have that. There could be a sequel, but the fact that it could just end like this and it would be completely satisfying.
Yeah, you could have a sequel to this just for the nature of who Max Rocksteady is. Yeah. He's just this drifter type character. He can just drift into any of these situations.
Yeah, he can go into another adventure. But
so that's why those types of characters are so great and so likable. The fact that we want to keep watching stories like this. That's why like The Man with No Name, the Clint Eastwood stuff is so great, and so iconic. But yeah, there is going to be a prequel film. George Miller is developing one about the early days of Furiosa with Anya Taylor-Joy,
Oh, okay.
so I'm very excited about that.
That's going to be pretty cool.
I think a little bit controversial that Charlize Theron is not in the role. I think I read she was pretty gutted that she's not going to be in it. They've recast it, but still, I'm very looking forward to that. Favorite performance? What's your favorite performance?
Charlize Theron.
Yeah, same. No disrespect to Tom Hardy. He probably has the most stunts
Tom's
he has
great.
to do without the main cast. But
Yeah. I would say Tom is, as Max, he's stoic.
Yeah.
And he's brooding. He's a stoic, brooding man.
Yeah.
And he does that phenomenally. But Charlie's just, I don't know, she goes through a lot more emotionally,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to latch onto that.
Yeah, same.
'cause,
And she has some great stunt work as well. Like towards the end, she's like just hanging on the side of Immortan Joe's vehicle.
Yeah, basically
So
she's been
intense.
stabbed. She's in a lot of pain. And
So yeah, I'm going to go Charlize as well. Not by a huge distance between
Yeah,
Tom
yeah,
Hardy because of the amount of stunts he did. But
no, I agree.
So what score are you going for, Barras?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 8.7. I don't think I really want to have it exceed the directing
No.
and the writing because that is just key. I mean, that's key.
Yeah.
Obviously, it does have to be acted competently.
We certainly have seen a lot better emotional performances from a cast in other films. But I think you got to consider, this film to have a high score for acting just for the stunt work alone. It's just incredible. Yeah, I'll go the same, actually. I'll copy you and do the same score for the last one. Right, let's add up the scores then for Mad Max Fury Road and wonder who is going to win this episode.
Jeez, it's going to be mine, obviously.
Mad Max Fury Road gets 54.6. That is insanely high. Let me just check if that is now top. Oh, no. Bloody hell. It is joint third with Toy Story 2.
No way!
Yeah. Oh,
That's insane.
We must really like Toy Story 2, and you must listen back to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, god damn it. What the hell was I thinking? Yeah. I couldn't ever remember scoring anything this high, but okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's it for this week then. Mad Max, a worthy winner of this week. Next week, as In the Heights hits cinemas, we're going to be doing musicals.
Oh, nice.
So our favourite musical picks for next week.
I already know what I'm going to pick.
And so do I.
Yeah.
All right.
You're going down, man.
No, you're going
Unless
down.
it's the same film.
All right. Thanks, Baz. As ever, you have been mediocre. Bye.
Bye. Witness!
Witness me!
Witness!
That's it for this week's pod. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to find out more about the podcast or suggest future topics for us to discuss related to upcoming releases, let us know on Instagram at Film vs. Film Podcast and on Twitter at FVF_podcast. Remember, please subscribe. Pod signing off.